We are back again. I just finished my gym. I hit back and biceps. Little bit gains are seen, but little bit is also an improvement. Keep that in mind. So today's topic is gonna be anxiety. How I dealt with anxiety, half of my life, and I got over it. So one thing to keep in mind, anxiety doesn't, you're not born with anxiety. Anxiety comes in you with, the environment that you grew up in, or the people that you had to face, and everything, or maybe like traumatic situations that might have caused you that anxiety. Okay. In my case, it was the environment. The environment that I grew up in constantly taught me that you have to be afraid of everything. You have to constantly be inside a shell. You shouldn't get out, because if you get noticed, so many things can go wrong. That's how I grew up. And because of that, as I got older, that didn't do any good for me. I stopped myself from doing anything that was good for me. I couldn't take risks. I couldn't handle any situation. I constantly felt anxious. But I realized I had to put a stop to it. And that's when I started this journey of my self-improvement. So how I dealt with my anxiety is, initially I did not know what to do. I just felt anxious. I felt shit about myself, and I used to quit. I quit things like that. But I realized that's not really good for me, and I can't keep living like this in fear. So what I started to do is, I found out this one way that helped me a lot, which might help you also. And that one way is to be aware of what's making you anxious. For example, if you are in a social situation, like a social gathering, and if you're feeling anxious, try to understand what is causing you that anxiety. What might be the reason that you're feeling like this? Is it the people, or is it the place, or there might be something that triggered you? As soon as you realize that, and as soon as you understand that, your anxiety goes away. Because in your human brain, you feel anxious when you don't know. When your brain is constantly gambling with unknown things, like error, that's when you're feeling anxious. But as soon as you give your brain an answer like, okay, this might be the reason I'm feeling anxious, it goes away. I know when I'm telling this, it sounds really simple and easy and job done. But it's not easy, and it's gonna take time. But it does get easier, if you keep doing it. Because if you go to a psychiatrist, or if you go to a therapist, and if they are helping you with your anxiety, the exercise that they tell you to do is, if you're feeling anxious in a room, look at all the objects that's there in the room, what color, and what all colors do you see, and all the kind of stuff. But I feel like my way helped me a little better, because when I give myself an answer of why I'm feeling anxious, my anxiety just went away. Yeah. And most important thing, if you are someone who deals with anxiety, it's also because of the chemical imbalance that's happening inside of your brain. So try to give yourself like good physical activity, which will help you balance the chemical reactions in your brain, and you will feel less anxious than how you used to feel. And another thing what I did is, do what makes you anxious. Do. And realize, more than anxiety, realize it's the butterflies in your stomach that's there. Enjoy that shit. When you're doing something that you're afraid to do, but you have butterflies in your stomach, enjoy that and do it. Do it anyway, and your anxiety just goes away. I was really scared of dark. I was so scared, I couldn't sleep in a room alone. And now when I think about it, like, I overcome that. How? Because I kept doing it. I didn't have an option, so I just kept doing it, and that fear went away. I was really afraid of, taking risks. Then I just kept taking risks. It can be the dumbest shit, but I kept taking risks, and that anxiety went away too. So if you are anxious to talk to people, talk to more people. If you are anxious to socialize, not social, I just told that, but if you are anxious to do something, do it. Just do it and see what happens. Give your brain that answer, and once your brain gets that answer, your anxiety goes away, and it's that easy. Most of the time we overcomplicate such small things in our life and make our life miserable to live. We have one life, and that life is not to just survive. The life is to live, live at its fullest, because you won't get this age, you won't get this time ever again. You won't get any of this ever again. So it's, instead of just surviving, live at its fullest. Do what makes you happy. Do what scares you the most. Fuck around and find out. Well, that's what I'm doing. Even now, like, I'm just doing that. Even though I'm constantly anxious, I have doubts, I have that, I have this. Like, no, I overcome that and I do it. Do what you're supposed to do. And you start living rather than surviving. And you live at its most. And you enjoy life and you're happy. You see beautiful things in life. You'll start noticing beautiful people, who are genuinely nice, and your perspective towards this world changes. Well, that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll come up with a new video again with a new topic. Well, if you want me to talk about something, please let me know in the comments. And I hope whatever I spoke helps you in some way. Bye.